Wait, where's the? And I guess that was the weirdest start of a episode. I clicked record and it went like this and then it just stopped and it just popped up apparently. So I guess cue the music.
Oh.
Whew. Okay, we're back. We are back. Welcome back everyone to a Beyond the Streams episode because we don't know what the hell is going on here half the time. Um, I got an interesting topic for you today. Very interesting topic.
Okay.
Okay. Um, before we jump in, how you been?
I think I'm okay.
That's it.
Okay, I'm a lot better than last week because stupid last week YouTube gave me a strike, and you heard me ranting. Well, I don't know when this video is going to air, but you guys heard me ranting on a recent live stream about how I was arguing with YouTube about the strike that they gave me being illegitimate, and that even though I appealed it, nobody actually read the appeal, and they just immediately said denied. And then I actually reached out to their creator chat in which I said it was an illegitimate strike. And they said, well, you appealed it and it was denied. And I said, well, no one actually looked at it. And they said, well, we can't do anything. And I was like, well, I'm just asking for a human. Can I get a human, please? And then they finally escalated it, in which they said it was illegitimate and they removed the strike from my channel. Like, I guess I'm better, but my issue is it doesn't matter if you have no strikes or you have strikes. YouTube can give you a 3-hit combo anytime they want. And I ain't talking about chicken strips.
Oh man. And with that being said, make sure you guys do check our affiliates below. We got Buzz TV and we got a VPN for you guys.
Hell yeah.
Make sure you guys protect yourself before you wreck
Before
yourself.
you wreck yourself.
I got a good topic today.
Is it about wrecking yourself?
It's about no, it's not about wrecking yourself. Well, maybe Pirate Bay. Pirate Bay. I'm sure you've heard of Pirate Bay.
Yes, sir.
It's the question is who hasn't heard of Pirate Bay? That's the question. Who hasn't heard of Pirate Bay? Let us know. Actually, don't let us know. No. You know what? Let us know. Have you ever heard of Pirate Bay? Yes or no? Leave us a comment. Leave us a review. Today's episode is going to be on what happened.
Letter P.
Yeah. What happened to the Pirate Bay founders? What happened to the Pirate Bay founders? Now, before we really jump into who the founders are, we got to bring this back, like way back. When did the internet actually start?
What?
The internet with like the .com, the Google, all that. Wasn't it like 2002, 2001?
No, it was before that.
99, 98, 97?
I would say it started really gaining some good popularity around 97-ish. Somewhere around, let me see. I had actually a picture of this.
I'm trying to think of like if I was in high school. So I was in high school from 97 to 2000. And I'm trying to think, I think we used computers. There might have been like a keyboard class that I took, but
we all took keyboard classes back then.
Dude. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out like when did the internet, because I remember it was like all dial-up and AOL and you got mail and all that crap. But it didn't really take off. Like that big explosion didn't happen until late 90s, you know? So
late 90s. Yeah.
late 90s sometime. We'll just throw it like that. Pirate Bay was launched in 2003.
Yeah, it's
And
older than YouTube.
yeah. And what they did was they made things available like movies, music, video games, like software stuff. Whatever you
They made a platform where users could make available.
No.
They were making it available themselves. It wasn't P2P.
Yes.
Well then,
They got in trouble pretty quick, and they were it was they made it available. The P2P didn't happen until later. It didn't happen till later. But as you guys know, when you got to think about it. Like, think about it like this: the .com just happened, it just exploded. Dude, Eminem was even rapping about go ahead and rip this CD for everybody to hear. Like, and people were calling their albums "Rip This." It was a time where piracy was at its highest, and it was very well known. Like, the second it was like, hey, you guys could get a digital asset of this, boom, pirated instantly. It was like it stood no chance. And even if it wasn't a digital asset, like music, like CDs, they burned it onto a computer and then they loaded it up to Pirate Bay.
Back in those days, search engines were not so restricted. I know some of us don't realize how restricted our search engines are these days, but your first page on a search result is usually dictated by sponsors or however algorithm that search engine, Google, wants to program it, right? Back in the day, it was the Wild Wild West. You could find all different kinds of forums and blogs that would teach you how to get around, what were they called now? Like restrictions. So if you went out to your local Blockbuster, you could literally just Google how to rip the DVD, and it was up onto your local torrent site back in the day, and within half an hour.
And even I don't know if you remember this too. I don't know if you ever did this, but
I didn't do nothing.
You used to go to, like, I don't know if do you guys still have Circuit City up there?
It was called Radio Shack here.
We have Radio Shack too. Those are two different companies.
Are they different?
Yeah.
Well, then no, I don't have Circuit City.
Remember, Radio Shack is back now.
We'll be back.
Used to go to, or not used to go, but Circuit City and Radio Shack used to sell the device to actually burn a CD. You would put the actual CD on top, and then you would put a blank one on the bottom, and then you could make your own copy. And they were selling this at freaking Circuit City, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like, you're actually selling this stuff, and people do this to games.
It wasn't purposely sold for pirating. I mean, that's what they would say, but everyone who bought it did what?
Yeah, copied stuff. So, when this whole thing started back in the early 2000s, when you're looking at like prosecutors, like going after these people, what's that saying? Like, cut the head of a snake and two more grow back, and cut
Hydra.
those 4 more. Yeah, Hydra. Yeah, a whole bunch of heads start coming up. So, they even tried taking down founders, and they still couldn't control it. And they're going after people all over. Like, these people were like running around everywhere. Here's the interesting thing. Pirate Bay, is it still up right now?
I have no idea. I don't go on those sites.
Search Pirate Bay real quick. Let's do a quick research. Is the Pirate Bay website still up.
It comes up with different names all the time, from what I hear. So if I do a Google search, there's thepiratebay.org. There's TPB proxypirate.com, which stands for The Pirate Bay. There's pirateproxy-bay.com.
I wonder if they all look the same.
I mean, I'm clicking on them. They're very, very similar. Very similar.
But the original one, is the original one up?
Well, what is the original one? Is that the piratebay.org?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's there.
The piratebay.org. And it looks like a little pirate ship and stuff.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
So if you guys didn't know, or if you didn't know, you didn't know, the law, the popo, the feds, ICE, I don't know, whoever the powers of be are, actually caught the founders and got some sentence time. One of the co-founders was actually happy to do jail time. This is a direct quote from one of the co-founders. He says, "Prison was well worth it." If you guys don't know, the three guys, Frederick Nige, Peter Sundy, and Gottfried Svartholm. Yeah, they all ended up in jail. All of them. Pretty interesting stuff here. I just looking at what it was. Back then, we always talk about inflation. We always talk about how expensive things are. Did you know, this is actually like a fun fact, and I don't know the exact percentage. I want to say it's like 67%, maybe, of the world torrent stuff.
There's a lot of people, but let's be clear. Not all torrents are bad.
Here we go.
Because ideally, the idea behind the technology or the software is just peer-to-peer. It was just a way to share data that was, more secure than just sending it or hosting it on a cloud. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was basically crowdfunding of cloud storage, which was super cool.
Yeah. Here's a fun fact. I'm going to read this. There's a lot of sources out there if anybody's really wanting to know like the deep sources of all this stuff. So the Pirate Bay, taking a look back, the origins of the Pirate Bay date back to the Swedish organization called Pirate Bryn, Pirate. I think I'm saying that right, which means the Piracy Bureau. The organization focused on legalizing piracy through political connections, petitioning, and lobbying. Most people, of course, of the organization felt that the information should be allowed to be free across the internet. Intellectual property, I guess, is what they're calling it. And what's interesting is these three guys, the three original guys, they were going to like big Congress meetings and stuff, like like they were like, hey, this is this is here. It's not going to be here. These are the same guys that made Pirate Bay. And yeah, they, of course, they're gonna put like Windows out. Windows was like huge. Like everything that Windows had was out there. The gaming stuff, the movies, you know what I mean? I'm trying to find out where these guys are actually from. And you know what's funny? BitTorrent came around before Pirate Bay did.
Yes.
But not I don't- like there's no date here on when BitTorrent actually came out. But did you know that Pirate Bay was originally had servers?
I did not know that.
They had an extensive amount of servers. You want to guess in what country?
Sweden.
Nope.
Switzerland.
Nope.
I don't know.
Mexico. Mexico. One of the guys actually convinced his employer, who had servers in Mexico, to help them run the site. So, what's crazy about Mexico, I don't know if you know about anything about this, but there's a lot of corruption in Mexico. I'm sure you've heard some stuff, right? Like the drugs and all that stuff. Yeah. Did you know in Mexico, you could actually, if you wanted to become a doctor, you can go to somebody and they'll give you a paper that says you're a doctor.
Approved.
Yeah. Like legit. What's interesting though is, have you seen like Narcos?
No, I've heard good things about it, I think.
It's a really, really good TV show. And they show when Pablo Escobar did the whole drug thing out there in Colombia. Then they did Narcos Mexico, and they showed like El Chapo being like a driver and how he's like rising up to power and like all this stuff that's happening over there. My pops that lives in Mexico used to say that Mexico back in the day used to be extremely safe. But as time went on and corruption, it just turned into hell, fast. How crazy is this that this guy was able to convince his employer, which had servers in Mexico, say, let's do it. And then later on say, you know what? Maybe I need to pull out of this. You know what I mean?
Yep. You gotta check yourself before you wreck yourself.
So they pulled out and they had to bring it back home. So by the end of 2004, the Pirate Bay had 1 million users and 60,000 files. That were being shared. So they were like, you know what? Oh, and the funny thing about it too is at that time he was using this had me like cracking up when I was reading this. He was using his laptop back then, and he had 256 megabytes of RAM back then. And they were buying servers and databases and like all kinds of stuff to house everything. So what they did was, or the way it was working was they pretty much transformed their laptop services Literally, that's what they had, a laptop service
Oh my god.
into worldwide file sharing site. Like,
It really goes to show you though, like we have these crazy devices laying all over our house that are more powerful than some of the most influential tools and services and products that were created since the early 2000s. Like these people had nothing and they made multi-million-dollar businesses out of them. And now we have a quadrillion times more power and we're sitting there just scrolling through TikTok.
yep. And what's funny is these guys were growing so fast, they didn't care. They actually were extremely, it's funny that we use the word bullish now, aggressive. They were extremely aggressive and proud to get free information sharing across the internet. And the other thing too is they weren't hiding who they were. They weren't hiding. They didn't put a face. They didn't hide their faces or change their names or nothing like that. They were like in plain sight. Like, nope, this is who we are. This is what we do, and we're gonna share this information to everybody. And what's even crazier, there was so many, like just think about back in the day, back in the early 2000s into the mid 2000s, even bleeding into the late 2000s, 2007. All the companies that all of a sudden were born, because we didn't have, back in the late 90s, we didn't have freaking Premiere Pro. We didn't have Photoshop back then. I don't even know if PDF was around then or not. But imagine companies like Adobe or Google, Yahoo. Oh my gosh, dude. Even look back and remember the floppy disk era? Those games were available on Pirate Bay. Dude, Nintendo. Like, think about all those companies that were being born in the 80s, in the 90s, and some that didn't even existed until the 2000s. All of a sudden, all their work was out there. And imagine how many cease and desist notices they received. Now, what exactly is copyright infringement? By definition, like what exactly is copyright infringement?
All right, let's see what it says. As a general matter, copyright infringement occurs when a copyrighted work is reproduced, distributed, performed, publicly displayed, or made into a derivative work without the permission of the copyright owner. Distributed, reproduced, publicly displayed. How many more boxes do we want to check?
How does that work? I have my family over and I'm just like, hey, I just purchased the UFC pay-per-view for everybody to come watch it. How does that work if I'm displaying it?
Yeah, you're displaying it, but not publicly, and you're not redistributing, right? You purchase it for almost, so think about it like this. You purchased a license to view it on one device, on your TV. and you're doing exactly what that license purchase was. You're watching it on that TV. You're not redistributing it, and you're not, you're not like selling it, reselling it.
What's the difference between? And I'm using the UFC because they've been in the UFC recently because of redistribution. What's the difference of me putting a projector in front of my house for all my neighbors to come watch the fight versus having them all come inside my house to do the exact same thing?
Well, that goes back into being publicly displayed, because then anybody can see it outside. I guess it would all depend on the terms and conditions from you purchasing the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I hate to keep talking about this dumbass, but that sheriff that arrested those people in Florida in the flea market, and then everyone went to his YouTube channel, and he was publicly displaying and reading copyright material on his YouTube channel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what's interesting is there was a lot of cease and desist, stop doing what you're doing, and they just ignored it. They're like, whatever. You know what's interesting? Authorities actually were ignoring the website.
It's ridiculous.
Even though they were being told, like, hey, this is illegal, you guys need to arrest them. They're like, whatever. They didn't care.
Well, I think there's also like a learning curve. A lot of people don't understand, like, what is the internet? I mean, now it's a joke because everyone knows like the internet is realer than real life, right? But back in the early 2000s is like, what is the internet? They're all trying to text on BlackBerry still.
Yeah. Yeah. So in May 31st, 2006, because of so much pressure from the governments, there was actually a police raid. 65 police officers raided the Pirate Bay's database center, like legit a database center with servers and everything, and shut them down. They went in there, they grabbed everything. You know what's the most boneheaded thing about this whole story, though?
It's still up.
No, that's not the part. About that arrest, about not that arrest, about that raid.
Oh, about the raid.
The actual raid.
What?
They shut everything down, took all their servers. You know what was the stupidest thing about the whole thing? Nobody got arrested. Nobody, not the founders, not anybody there working servers, nobody. They went in there with I don't know how in Switzerland how they did this, but I know here in the States, normally when they come and they have an order to look inside your house to take stuff, they went in there, grabbed servers and laptops, and they left. They took off. And they told them, they were like clear as day, do not restart your stuff. Do not turn back on. So what do you think they did?
I'm just turned it back on.
They went to the Netherlands. And Pirate Bay was back up in 3 days. 3 days, bro. They went there, wiped it all out. 3 days later, they were back. They went to the Netherlands in an undisclosed location, of course. So not only did the raid not take down the website, they didn't take down the site. They just took servers. But it actually boomed them up to a whole other level.
Mm-hmm. Next level.
Dude, it was some next. Hi, where's my soundboard here?
Sometimes we always, as enthusiasts, we look for reasons to upgrade our tech. And if they take our 256 megabytes of RAM, we go into that gig, baby.
So this hit the news that there's a huge raid, blah blah blah. That these guys they took everything out, and put it this way, they actually interviewed the founders on national TV, worldwide. This aired everywhere. Where is the mecca of entertainment? What country has entertainment staked in that nobody can touch? This is easy.
The US.
The US.
I was like, is this a trick question? Are you trying to tell me, like, in the deserts of Dubai, where the princes hold those crazy parties and they pay like millions of dollars to have camels do funky things with people? I don't know.
Girls with crop tops belly dancing and no. No, it's the States. So the United States being the hub of entertainment, Hollywood and all that stuff. Of course, it was like, it's kind of like when you hear something happen in the States, the entire world hears about it. When something is happening outside of the States, the United States gets involved. It's like the United States is involved in every single which way, in any way possible. It doesn't matter what's out there. They're involved no matter what. So when this raid happened, it was huge in the States. They aired everything that the Swedish government had. 3 days later, they came back up. So because of the news, when it hit worldwide everywhere, Pirate Bay blew the F up, dude. It's like it was already getting big. Oh no. That wasn't even they weren't even scratching the surface yet. It exploded after that happened. And here's the crazy part. They pissed off a lot of people.
Pirate Bay, for sure. I mean,
No, not Pirate Bay. Not Pirate Bay. The governments that got together to shut down Pirate Bay,
right?
They pissed off the wrong people.
Huh.
Yeah. This is how bad it went. This is how crazy it went. There was one hacker in particular that hacked the Sweden's national police website. And it's Poli, POLISEN.se, and took their site down. There was a lot of hackers out there, if you want to call them that, or nerds, whatever you want to call them.
I take offense.
I don't. I'm a nerd, whatever. And here's the thing. Not only did they take down their website, they took down the government's website. They pissed off a lot of people. So there's the lawsuit. This went to court. And what's even funnier is the lawyers that were defending the Pirate Bay founders accused the police of unfairly impounding every server on site during the raid. And the thing is that those servers were also housing a bunch of other businesses and a bunch of other small websites. And when the police came to take everything down, they just took it all down, all of it. They didn't care what was on it, who was there, whatever. This is their hub. It's all gone. So pretty much the government like messed up big time. You know? They also this is the
you know what
funny
this
part.
reminds me of?
Ah.
I'm not going to mention any names, but
Mhm.
somebody in the streaming community, I've heard some fantastic stories about commercials being had and live TV shows going on with the K app being displayed on a TV in the background.
Yep. With celebrities.
With celebrities. You know, it's very difficult to afford every piece of software these days. Like, we pay for the Adobe Suite. Adobe Suite is $80 a month. Just before this stream started, we were discussing StreamYard, right? The StreamYard software, in order to get 1080p, you're looking at $50 a month. These are big business expenses that crush you when you're just getting started. Now, it could be made where now, in today's day and age, you know, an argument can be made that you don't need those things, that you could find free or relatively cheap alternate solutions. But that wasn't the case back then. Back then, it was like you only knew the one software and this is what you needed. And there was less compatibility. If you were working on something, let's say Word, like you couldn't just take a Word file and throw it into Google, what I don't even know what they call it, Google Docs, right?
Mhm.
Like it wasn't that easy.
Yeah.
So
So the whole thing about the lawyers, when they're going to court, they accused the Swedish government of being pressured by the United States and pretty much embarrassed them, saying, we're our own government. What the hell does the states have anything to do with us? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So now they are getting. So this is what happened. They didn't think this was going to happen, but they got some unexpected negative PR. And it wasn't like, oh, this is bad. It was like, this is really, really bad. At that point, 52% of let me see. Ooh, this is some juicy stuff. Here are some facts. These are like flat facts. In 2017, 38% people across the globe acquired or accessed digital content illegally. 52% of online users watched pirated videos. 59% of people are aware that downloading or streaming pirated videos is illegal. 67% of digital piracy sites are hosted in North America and Western Europe. Nearly 24% of the global internet bandwidth is used for online piracy. 98.8% of data transferred using P2P network is copyrighted. 28 million users downloaded and share files through P2P networks every day. 91.5% of files available for download on Cyberlogger sites, Rapid Share, Mega Upload, et cetera, are copyrighted. Only 1 out of 10,000 pieces of the most popular content on the Open BitTorrent tracker is non-copyrighted. You're muted, by the way. So Next Level's completely talking here, and he's completely muted the whole time.
Saying shout out to our boy Hellboy, because if you do choose to go through one of these places and watch Hellboy, your ISPs will find you. Hellboy's notorious for causing and raising some hell.
Yeah, dude. It was, yeah. I can't believe Hellboy is like one of the most, literally, right? One of the most pirated movies or something, or
It's not about it being the most pirated movie. It's the one that I've seen get people the most letters from their ISP. I think it's because they didn't make enough money from the actual movie that they were like, yo, if you stream us online, we coming for you. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It has become so easy to share and partake in piracy, for a lack of better term, transactions, that people ignorantly so, gullibly so, just stumble right into it. Right? You remember back in the day when, you know, you would have to show up at some sketchy place and then hand somebody a satellite receiver and give them $300 to $500, and then they would like burn in, you know, the code, and then it would go down in a few months, and then you'd go back in. But like, you can get more access than you ever had going through a system like that without any of that hassle and for a fraction of the price. So it kind of feels less sketchy. And I guess if someone isn't educated or willing to educate themselves, then they don't know where they're going to go down on the internet. The internet is a wild, wild west sometimes.
sometimes. So in April 17th of 2009, the three guys decided to run. They ended up losing the legal battle, and they had to owe $4.3 million or 30 million Swedish kronor, or whatever their Swedish money is, where the main guy, he wrote it on a piece of paper, IOU. He wrote IOU.
Who?
Huh?
Who?
I forget his name. Not Peter, not Carl, but the other guy. So Peter and Carl actually they said screw it. Oh, God, Frederick. He was the one that wrote the IRU. So Peter and Carl said screw it, we're done. So they turned themselves in pretty much. The other guy though, he ran away to Cambodia.
Of course.
And Cambodia had no extradition policy to Sweden, nothing whatsoever. But here's the thing, he got arrested August 30th of 2012.
Where?
In Cambodia. And they sent his ass back to Sweden. And here's the funny thing about it. 6 days after Gottfried got arrested, 6 days after, Cambodia received 400 million kroner.
From who?
The Swedish government.
What?
So even though there's nothing, they said, look, if you catch this fool, because we know he's there, we pay you lots of money. So yeah, so he did 3 years of jail time. Now, when all of that stuff happened, when all of that happened, this is something that's very interesting. The site turned P2P. You want to explain what P2P is?
Peer to peer. And that's kind of what I was talking about in the beginning of the stream, where, in the idea of a torrent file, let's say, where one file can be distributed amongst many different hosts. And a host for a torrent or whatever the file is can be anybody, any one of your peers, and they can host little bits of the file or the whole thing. And when you're downloading it from a peer-to-peer network, the idea is that you're grabbing little bits and pieces from many different places, and that way you can utilize higher download speeds. Because let's say if somebody has a cap of 10 megabytes a second upload speed, but you got 50 people sharing 50 different pieces of that file at 10 megabytes a second, essentially you could get 500 megabytes or more download speed off that one file. So you can get, better security, because it means that there's more places hosting the file and faster speeds, and obviously cheaper because people are doing it for free just to support the network.
So when these guys pretty much ran and shut everything off, there was several people, and I'm going to use that word very loosely. Several doesn't mean like there's like a dozen. I don't want to say several people. There was a couple hundred. I'm talking about several people in the thousands that downloaded the Pirate Bay website. When it got shut down, the Pirate Bay website in itself is less than a gig.
It's like a simple text file. It's not a very complicated website.
No, it's super small. So what they did is anytime the site gets taken down, it literally takes them a few minutes to bring it back up. And the thing is that there's so many people that are, I don't want to say involved in it. Like nobody works for Pirate Bay. Pirate Bay is like literally for the people. But these people can load it up within seconds or minutes if it gets taken down. And the thing is that this thing moves around so much, it doesn't ever sit in one place. It moves around so much that it's impossible. So here's something very funny as we're wrapping up what happened to these guys. So, they each did their time, a couple years. The main guy got 3 years. You know what? Okay, so when he got arrested and he was in jail, he was the only person in jail that was there for a virtual crime. So
right, because after that, then you got your Kim.coms and like everybody else.
Yeah. So the people there, the rest of the people there, the guards, they pretty much left him alone.
Well, that's good to know.
You know what they did? They brought him a laptop and a USB stick.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And said, can you get us this movie or that movie or this show or that show or this software or these pictures or these leaked videos or whatever? So that's what he did. So he was there. He was there doing it. And what's even funny is he said, can we have a TV in here that we could stream this stuff?
So the guards gave him this? So he got put in there for the same reason. And then oh my God.
Yep. The amount of fan mail that he would get is unbelievable during that time. he said that the first 10 months when he thought it was going to be like it was going to suck went so fast. They had a TV in there, he was downloading stuff, they were doing everything, like downloading it, putting it up. He was hooking up the guards. Yeah. And they actually have videos here of him in jail doing this.
This is ridiculous.
Remember ISO Hunt?
Yep.
uTorrent? They started taking down a lot of these sites during this whole time. But because of how things were being shared and how they were like uploading stuff and how it was so easy and they didn't really need servers anymore to do it,
That's right, because the P2P.
they were never able really to take it down. And they're probably never going to, it's going to be impossible.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
Google has
impossible.
started removing some of their websites in some countries. Like that's a lot easier to do versus trying to hunt every single time it pops up.
Um, so these guys, once they got out, they started their own companies, and one of them even works for Google now.
Well, that was the tale old legend that if you F up good enough when it comes to digital crimes, that you land yourself with a legitimate job. Like you'd hear about that shit all the time. And then I think that's essentially where white hat hacking came around from, right? They're like, well, you know, I guess we should just give them a reason to hack us.
Yeah. The main guy, when he got out, he went back to Laos and said, I'm just going to get an IT job and retire out there. So that's what they did. Or presumably is what they said. So they're still around. They're still out there. They're still... And you know what? For those people interested, and for the ones who are watching this video, if you're listening to the audio, you're going to have to come over here. But for those that are interested on how these guys look like, there they are. And you know what? It's funny. It says, this one says, Nige was released from prison after serving 2/3 of a 10-month prison sentence. So some of these guys didn't even do the entire time.
Crazy.
Yeah. How does this make you feel?
I don't really know how to feel about this because I mean, we come from the era of the Napsters and the Pirate Bays and the LimeWires and oh my goodness, Bear Shares and I mean, I'm not going to say that it wasn't one of my favorites or it was one of my favorites, but Demonoid was a great site. I mean, maybe. You know, it was very difficult back then to afford a lot of these things, and some people in certain high up positions, even though they maybe could afford it, still went the route of going to some of these sites and getting this stuff. And I think that maybe it influenced a lot of the companies from today's day and age to change their pricing structure to actually make more money now. And we see a lot more companies that instead of selling a one-time use product, they charge you monthly for it, right? And a lot of those pirated products were you buy it and that's it. Like that's the product. You'd have to wait until 2-3 years down the road and buy the updated version or acquire it some way somehow, right? Now the companies have realized, well, maybe they realized it because of how often the software was being shared, that they had to move away from that one-time buy and get into that monthly solution, so that if people needed to use it for a short period of time, then maybe it's good for them because it's not that expensive. But it also includes a lot more updates and a lot more support.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to make an argument one way or another, but I do think that if the pirate game was not so strong in the early 2000s, companies would not have thought about Microsoft 365, let's say. I looked at even something as simple as Adobe Acrobat. I did not realize how expensive this shit is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize, and they don't want to sell it to you at a one-time price. They want you on that monthly.
The Creative Cloud for Adobe.
Yeah, and for the average person, like when I think about things like, the people that are still asking for Microsoft Office and the people that are still asking for like things like that are the generation that doesn't give a shit about Creative Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
The younger generation, for one, they get the free version of the applications through a student program most of the time, or you have free substitutions like the Google Suite. So it's like we are nickel and diming the elderly and like submission them into defeat to buy these Creative Cloud products when they don't even need it. I really don't think they need this stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's probably really, really good versions of Notepad plus plus out there that if you showed some of these elderly people, they would probably think that's a really nice word. Shots fired.
Shots fired. So the moral of the story, I know they're trying to be like the Robin Hood and help, but if anything, and this is the thing that I really think about, like, what is it that like, why is it that we're here? Why is it that this happened? How, like you said, how expensive certain things are. Netflix was the most dominating streaming service for such a long time, and they just kept price hiking more and more and more and more, and people are just like, dude, this thing's getting too expensive. It's like freaking cable, except nothing is on Netflix to watch anymore. Like they've lost so much stuff. And if they don't realize, and I know this is hard, this is really hard. Minimum wage in California, I think it's like $15 an hour. There's other parts in the United States that minimum wage is like $5 an hour. Gas prices in California are about $5. You can go out to like Missouri or other places around the states, and gas prices is going to be like $1 something.
Dude, don't bring gas prices to my table right now. That's a real sore spot.
I know it's expensive. California's stupid expensive right now.
Okay, hold on. I got to do this math right now. So hold on. How many liters in a gallon? Because that's how you guys do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 3. Here, let me get my calculator out. So let me do Yeah, we're about $5 a gallon right now, I think, if I'm doing my math right.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
$5
what you
for
guys
us
are paying right now?
Huh?
Is that what you guys are paying right now?
On the cheap end, if you find it, yeah. I
Uh,
think it's averaging about 5.25 on the cheap
mm,
end. It's expensive. California's stupid, but here's my point though. Netflix, if it's $20 a month, it's going to be $20 a month regardless of what state you're in. It doesn't matter if you're living in a very super expensive state where everything is expensive and minimum wage is crap, or if you're in another place where in a different state where maybe prices aren't as expensive, is not as expensive. I can't even say that now. And minimum wage is horrible, but it's kind of relative to where you're at, but it's still not that bad. Netflix prices is still Netflix prices, regardless of what state you're in. It doesn't matter. And there's people that because minimum wage is so crappy, they're just like, I can't afford Netflix. Like, dude, I like it's too much. Netflix is way too much.
right.
And then there's people that live in states that are super expensive, and they're just like, yeah, I'm like, I can get Netflix, but I got other options that are better, like Disney, Hulu, and ESPN bundle. It's a better deal, and I get more. I get 3 apps. So it's kind of it's just one of those things that they need to think about. Okay, if my minimum wage is $5 a month or $5 an hour, working in Timbuktu, which is a real place, by the way, and $20 Netflix is not worth it, man. And the thing is, $20 Netflix, even in those expensive states, people get it just because it's a name. It's a name that's been around for such a long time. But their numbers are slowly going backwards, and as that is happening, well, just a matter of time. Just a matter of time before something flips them.
So in the digital evolution in the digital evolution, even if you're trickling forward, if you're not going with the standard rate of inflation with the amount of users that are being onboarded all the time, then you're technically going backwards. Like, you know, think of it like you got a job and a job gives you a yearly bonus, and your bonus is less than the 7 to 9% that inflation is hitting you with a year. Did you get a bonus or did you not get a bonus? I don't know.
You pretty much don't, with all the taxes and everything coming up.
Yeah, you don't get a bonus.
You don't really get anything. Yeah, it sucks. You know, people right now in California are like, oh, we need a minimum wage bump, and I keep saying, like, are you guys stupid? The second that happens, everything else goes up. There's no such thing of me getting a raise. Like, no, you get a raise and everything goes up. And then they start crying about it, like, oh, it's because of Trump. Oh, no, it's because of freaking Joe Biden. And oh, it's like, dude, it's because you're bitching and crying that you want a minimum wage upgrade, but you don't want nothing else to go up with it either. That's the problem. If you have to pay more money to your employees at a grocery store, guess what? They need to be making more money to compensate. So guess what? Prices go up on everything. Milk, eggs, and I don't like, it's not stupidity, you know what I mean? This is like, if you want your minimum wage to go up, and if you want to get a raise because you're not minimum wage, you're higher than that, but you want to go up with the minimum wage, everything else goes up naturally.
But usually the things that you want to go up doesn't go up as much, or if anything.
Yeah. And it's, the thing is, you know, people want to get that raise, but they want their rent to stay low.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. And the thing that sucks is, yeah, Like you cannot work at McDonald's and support yourself. Nowadays, because of minimum wage, how it's been going up, you almost can work at McDonald's and support yourself. And there's people that are just like, I don't want to get like put it this way. When I started working at the hospital doing data and reporting analyst, I was what did they give me? 22 an hour. 22 an hour. And I heard In-N-Out is a fast food chain burger over here in California. That's like if you visit California, that's like one of the first things that people say, go to In-N-Out, try one of the burgers. Cause that's like a California thing, you know?
Right.
Dude, they're making, I think it was like 16 or 17 an hour. I'm thinking like, wait a minute. Let's just call it 17 an hour. $5 less than me. And all they're doing is flipping a burger while I'm over here like getting a headache trying to figure out how to pull this report, how to create this SQL code, how to like code stuff, how to make it look pretty so that way my boss could like this and take it to the CEO, CFO, president, whoever the hell, doctors at the hospital. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, dude, like, am I in the right job right now? Like, but that's the mentality. If I can go over there and do something less, but what happened when COVID happened and then all the unemployment went to hell? Everybody was just like, dude, I can make more money sitting at home than clocking in somewhere. Why do I need to go back to work?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy right now because, like, I think that right now, if you were having a midlife crisis and you were like, I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life, well, right now, whatever it is that you think you might want to do is hiring, and they're probably paying more than what they paid last year or the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as much as we want to shout out like all the healthcare workers and everything like that, these people that were flipping your burgers was keeping society running. So they were, I mean, they deserve bonuses. If they don't get like a standard rate, they should have got a bonus for keeping the freaking society running.
It's nuts. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know if this hasn't taught any of the big companies anything. Pirate Bay ain't going nowhere. Torrenting ain't going nowhere. Like trying to get this stuff at a budget, at a deal, at a discount, whatever. That's the thing. People are constantly looking for discounts. Here's a great example. PlayStation Plus is I don't know if you know about PlayStation Plus. It's expensive to get that yearly membership. It's like $60.
Yeah, it's the same thing for like Xbox. If you get their elite package or whatever that comes with the games and everything.
Right. But the thing is, when you think about it, it's just like, wait a minute, one game costs $60. If I get this thing and I get free games are included within this PlayStation Plus, it pays for itself. But this is how bad, like me, like I live in a house, I paid for my truck. It's not like I'm living check to check. Like I'm doing okay, I want to say. But you know what's interesting is I don't buy the PlayStation Plus when it's not on sale. I wait till November. For the month of November, most of the month, what they do is PlayStation Plus is like $30 for the year. And every year when it comes around, that's when I renew it. That's when I pay it. But that's the thing. It's finding ways. It's kind of like what you said earlier about celebrities were using the K app during commercials or interviews or whatever, even though they're making millions of dollars. They're using the K app in the back. It's interesting stuff, you know, and until big corporate companies think about it, saying like, you know what? Like maybe we need to, I don't know. It's almost you almost don't want to tell Netflix like you guys need to drop your prices because you're already there. What Netflix needs to do, for example, is bundle up with somebody and not hike price. Keep it the same. Like, how would you feel if Netflix teamed up with Peacock, let's say, and you get Peacock, you know how they have like I think it's like the $4.99 or whatever, the $5.99 deal. You get access to the WWE stuff and their live TV. What if Netflix bundled up with Peacock and did not change their prices? They said, hey, we're adding Peacock, their premium, no extra charge.
Well, I mean, you're getting more for your money, so that's good.
What if YouTube, remember, YouTube been selling a lot of their stuff out. They don't really have YouTube originals anymore.
No.
But they do got YouTube TV. What if YouTube says, or even better, I'm not going to use YouTube. What if Apple TV says, hey, sign up with Apple TV and you get YouTube TV free? No extra price hike.
That would never happen.
It doesn't matter if it never happened, but I'm saying, what if it did?
Anything more for my money, I'm happy. We ain't going that way, though. Every year, my money ain't worth as much as it was last year.
I think different. I think Disney made the first move when they bundled up Hulu, because they owned Hulu for. It's not like they didn't own Hulu. They owned Hulu for a while. Same with ESPN. They've owned ESPN for a long ass time, but they bundled it for no extra charge, or for very, very little of a price hike. I think we're on the verge of something like this, where streaming services are gonna have to package up and bundle up. I don't think they're gonna sell rights to one or the other, but I don't know. I think they're gonna have to like evolve from this, because if not, this is never gonna stop. This Pirate Bay thing and what people are doing, it's never gonna stop. You know, I have Disney Plus. I got Hulu. I love it. I think it worked great. I could go in there and I get my movie experience. I get my theater experience at home. I don't have to go to the movies. It sucks because I am a big freaking Marvel guy, and that's the only time I go. But I haven't been able to watch those movies the way I want to watch those movies, on IMAX and 3D inside of a closed room. I've been watching them in drive-thrus.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the quality is better at home than going through a drive-thru.
This is true in both audio and visual.
Yep.
The only thing I like about the drive-thru is that you could bring your dog. You can bring your own snacks. You can do what you want.
Yeah. But I go out to watch those Marvel movies in drive-thrus just because I want to get out of the house to watch my movies and have that experience of being outside of my house. Right. If I could watch that on IMAX in 3D, like how I used to back in the day, I'd be in heaven.
But D-Box.
Yeah. So hope you guys appreciate this video. This was a full episode of what happened to the Pirate Bay founders. And it's really interesting on what they've been able. They're pretty much like your today's digital Robin Hood guys. And yeah, I really do hope, you know, the moral of this story with these big companies, I hope they do. I hope more and more continue to look at this and say, hey, we need to do better. Disney has way more money than freaking anybody does out there. They own so much money, and they're able to do what they did for the people and bring us, they brought us stuff that hasn't been available to a lot of people in years.
Mhm.
So, big ups to them, and I support them. I have a paid subscription through them. So, yeah. Anything you got to say before we get the hell out of here?
Just a shameless plug. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. VPNs down below. And make sure you check out Buzz TV. It is what it is. At the end of the day, only you can prevent forest fires, and you choose how you use your internet. No matter where you guys are listening to us, if you're listening to us on the audio side, make sure you leave us a review so other people like yourself can find the content that you enjoy. If you are looking to be a part of the conversation, be a part of the community, make sure that you come over to the YouTube side over on Beyond the Streams and check out our live streams that are typically around 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do also have the Clips channel, which is BS Clips, where you get short little bite-sized clips of the episodes so you can catch on something that you missed, or maybe relive something that you enjoyed. You never know where the conversation is going to go. You never know who we're going to have on. We have a bunch of other content creators that join us for conversations, as well as CEOs and representatives from companies and products that you probably either are using or should be using in the future. So make sure you have that notification bell turned on, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.